If you're feeling creatively stuck right now, I've got something that might help. Today I'm sharing a couple things that have helped me break through the creative blocks in my filmmaking, and they just might help you too. All right, to start it off, we are going to talk about your environment and why it matters. Your environment plays a huge role in your creative energy. And I don't just mean like clean your desk kind of environment, though that is part of it. I'm talking about like the light in your room, the vibe, the feel of the space you're in. Maybe it's just because I'm super visual, but I've learned that things like color temperature can seriously affect how I feel when I'm working. I'll give you an example. I was working on a narrative project and we were wrapping a long shoot day, and we were shooting the last scene of that day. It was really late at night, but the scene took place early in the morning. Everyone was tired and half asleep, and we were drinking up the last of Crafty's coffee, but we were setting up for this early morning scene where the sun was supposed to come blasting through the windows of this cafe that we were filming in. So I had the Grip and Electric team out there setting up a bunch of really bright lights with some CTO warm gel to go over those lights. And as soon as those lights turned on, the mood instantly lifted. The crew perked up, we felt more awake, more alive, and more ready to go. And that's when I realized that there's a lot more to your surroundings and how they affect your mindset than you might think. So when I hit a block, one of the first things I do is change my environment. Sometimes that means you're heading to a coffee shop, sometimes that's stepping outside, maybe it's turning on a different light or adjusting the visual mood of the space you're in. Whatever speaks to you, build that into your workspace. Another thing that has helped me creatively is music. And I don't just mean like a cool playlist. I mean music that actually inspires whatever I'm working on. Sometimes I'll loop a specific track while I'm writing or editing, and that one song becomes like the anchor to the whole thing. In fact, while I was writing this script, I actually had a playlist going on that helped me get in the right headspace. Music reconnects me to emotion. It helps me feel something instead of just trying to figure it out. And then emotion helps me figure out exactly where creatively I'm going. Even as a kid, I remember vividly imagining what a movie would look like if they used the song I was listening to. And even all these years later, I've learned that I am very, very inspired by the music I listen to. All right, here's another tip. Write everything down, even if it's messy or half-baked. Here's my journal. It's chaos. I am super disorganized. It's just random scribbles, shot ideas, scene sketches, things that totally don't necessarily make sense. But so many of my best projects have started with these scribbled lines. I also use my phone's notes app all the time. If something comes to mind while I'm out, I'll write it down on my phone, even if it doesn't necessarily fit with everything right now, because trust me, you will forget it later. Ultimately, your creativity needs a place to land. So give it a place, whether it's a notebook or it's your phone. Put it somewhere so that you can come back to it and be re-inspired. Sometimes the block isn't necessarily like a creative block as much as it's just like you've been stuck in your own thing for too long. Maybe you've been staring at your screens too long, or maybe you've just been in your head too much. Pressuring yourself to make something amazing without letting real life back in is not going to work. When that happens, I'll step away from my work, grab coffee with a friend, run errands. Ultimately, you need outside ideas. What really helps me is just seeing life, being around people. Another really important thing is to know how you process ideas. Some people need silence. I'm the opposite. I process things out loud. So I'll call my friend Josh, who you've probably seen in some of these videos before, or I'll talk with my wife and we'll sit down and just have a unrushed conversation. And usually by the end of that, the creative problem starts to solve itself. I take this to a different level when I am working on projects. I will tell somebody I'm working with on a film that I want to have a creative argument with them. Not in like a toxic way, in like a constructive way. Basically, we'll sit down and poke holes in an idea together, tear it apart, and figure out where it's weakest so that we can build it back up together. At the end of the day, a fresh perspective almost always leads to some kind of a breakthrough. But here's the thing, creativity isn't a light switch. You can't just flip it on at 2 p.m. in between Zoom meetings. For me, I like to think of creativity more as like a plant that needs light, space, input, and yeah, maybe a little bit too much coffee. If you take care of it, it grows. But if all you do is grind and you don't rest and you don't let any sunlight in, it burns out. Now, it doesn't mean that creativity only happens in peaceful, perfect conditions. Sometimes your best work is gonna come under pressure. But here's the thing, your creativity only gets stronger because you've nurtured it and given it time to grow. I also kind of like to think of creativity like a muscle. And like a muscle, if you don't use it, it weakens. So you've got to exercise your creativity, push it, stretch it, Make things even though you don't feel inspired, especially when you don't feel inspired. Sometimes that means creating something that's just kind of bad, just to keep that muscle moving, and that's okay. Every rep builds strength. So yeah, I like to think of creativity as both a plant and a muscle. It needs resistance, and it also needs you to tend it, to train it. And over time, it is gonna grow stronger. So if you're feeling like you've kind of hit a creative block, take some time, step away from your project, get in the sun, drink a coffee, call a friend, or just sit peacefully, listen to music, and enjoy something that inspires you. Let your creativity bloom by nurturing it, tending it, but also make sure that you balance that with consistency. All right, that's it for today, guys. I hope you liked this video, and I hope that it inspired you to go out and create something. So stop watching this video and start making something. I believe in you, and I'll see you in the next one.